Before we begin, I want you to imagine something. What if there was a quiet market that opened only when it rained? A place where people could trade their feelings, not with coins, but with cloth, or candlelight, or memory. What if you could fold your sorrow into silk and give it away? What if someone could hand you peace in a small bowl of steam? Tonight, we visit that place. Welcome to Sleepless Lantern. Calm history and poetic stories for sleep. If your eyes are growing heavy, you can let them close. You don't need to watch. Just listen. But if you are watching, you might notice the rain softly falling behind the market stalls, the flicker of a lantern beside a folded letter, or a figure passing by in a dark green cloak. You're free to imagine it your own way. And if you truly enjoy stories like this, feel free to subscribe or return anytime you need a little quiet. If you could trade one feeling tonight, what would you offer? And what would you ask in return? Let me know in the comments below. No, let the rain begin. Let the market open, and let us step into a world where feelings are traded gently. It begins not with thunder, not with wind or lightning, but with something smaller. A change in the way the leaves rustle, a hush beneath the rooftops, a stillness in the breath of the sky. And then the first drop falls. It lands softly on a tile rooftop, makes a gentle sound against wood, and disappears. Another follows, and another, until soon the rain is everywhere, soft, steady, silver. In the fading light, it clings to ivy along stone walls. It trails down windows in long threads, and pools quietly in the hollows of cobblestones, where footsteps passed earlier in the day. But now, the streets are empty, except for the rain. And something else, from somewhere not quite visible, not behind you, not ahead. A sound arrives, a single bell, clear and round, ringing once, not as a call, but as a permission. Somewhere, a cloth stirs, a flap of canvas breathes outward, a tent stretches softly in the mist, its corners held down by stones that shine like river glass. One by one, they appear, not built, but remembered, not constructed, but allowed. The market is opening, and no one will say why. No one will tell you who made it, because no one did. It appears only when the sky allows it, only when the world becomes quiet enough to feel. The rain continues, not rushing, just falling, gently, rhythmically, like a lullaby that doesn't need to be sung aloud. More stalls bloom into the clearing. Some are large and draped in thick velvet. Others are tiny, tucked beneath woven overhangs. Their posts are carved from pale wood. Their floors are just wet stone, but each one glows, not with fire, not in the way the world usually glows, but with something else. The first light you see comes from within a folded tent. It flickers orange and gold, as if a lantern were breathing. But when you get closer, you realize it is not firelight. It is memory, soft and flickering at the edges, lighting the fabric from behind. Another stall glows blue, a gentler blue than sadness, the blue of a feeling that was once sharp, but is now just quiet. Near that, there is no light at all, only darkness softened by the rain, like velvet soaked in shadow. And there, too, is a kind of welcome. There are signs, not large, not insistent, just paper, tacked quietly to the front of each stall. They are written in hand, not print. The ink is smudged by the rain, but you can still read them. One says, feelings made quiet. Another says, for those who carry without knowing. Another, joy, if you are ready. And then, nothing more. No prices. No instructions. Only space. And quiet. And the sound of the rain. Still falling. Now other things begin to emerge. You see a chair that wasn't there a moment ago. A table you do not remember passing. A piece of ribbon caught on the edge of a stall. Not tied to anything. Just resting. As if waiting for someone to remember what it once held. You look around. There are no crowds. No shouting. No exchange of money. Just presence. And rain. And waiting. The market is not a place for urgency. It does not hurry you. It does not expect. It only appears. When the world becomes still enough to listen, you are here. And that, for now, is enough. The rain falls steady now. Not loud, not harsh. Just present. It taps against the market tents, pools along the worn edges of stone, and fills the air with the scent of softened soil and stories not yet spoken. The market has opened itself, quietly, gently, like a flower unsure if the sun will stay. No, others begin to come, not all at once, not in lines or clusters, but singly, as if each had been called by something no one else could hear. Their footsteps make no sound on the wet stones. Their cloaks are heavy with the rain. Their faces are turned down, not in shame, but in reverence. One carries a bundle wrapped in deep green silk. Its corners are frayed, but clean. Another holds a bowl, clay, worn smooth with time, cradled in both hands as if it contained breath itself. A third walks with nothing but a folded letter, the edges softened, the paper gently trembling with the rain. They do not speak. No voices rise. No greetings exchanged. There is no need. Everyone here has brought something too heavy to carry in daylight. And the market welcomes that. Soft signs hang from the stalls, barely moving in the damp air. They're written by hand, the letters delicate, imperfect, like someone wrote them while remembering how to spell an emotion. Some signs read, regret made lighter. Peace, if you're ready. Loneliness, in safe company. Forgiveness in a bowl of steam. Sorrow, lovingly folded. Each tent glows differently. Some with amber light, warm and inviting. Some with blue that flickers, like reflection on water. Others with no light at all, but somehow still visible. A kind of darkness that feels like quiet, not fear. The visitors walk slowly, some with direction, others with uncertainty, but no one rushes. Here, time loosens its grip. Minutes stretch like silk, drawn through careful hands. You can feel it. The market does not measure time in numbers. It measures in breath. You notice one figure pause before a tent labeled. Memories that outgrew their names. She carries a basket filled with pieces of ribbon. Each is tied in a different knot. She sets the basket down and slowly unties one knot. She leaves it, open, on the table, then walks on. Another visitor stops at a table covered in black velvet. Upon it rests a single jar, filled with soft yellow light. It hums faintly, like bees dreaming. He holds it in his hands, not to take it, but to remember something he thought he'd forgotten. Then, after a moment, he places a folded photograph beside it and walks away lighter. There are no transactions, no coins, no trades in the way the world understands them, only offerings, only invitations, and the understanding, deep and ancient. That, whatever is placed here, is held with care. There are rules, though no one says them aloud. You feel them more than know them. Rule 1. You may only offer a feeling you're truly willing to release. Half offerings dissolve. Pretended emotions turn to mist. Rule 2. You may take something only if your hands are steady. Not greedy, not grasping, steady, like someone holding silence. Rule 3. Never ask where feeling came from. Its shape is its own story, and it does not belong to you. The visitors continue. One drops a single button into a bowl of grief, made gentle. Another leaves an empty thimble beside. Hope. Still flickering, and slowly, the market fills with more than people. It fills with presence, with breath, with the weight of things long carried, and the peace of setting something down. And just beyond the edge of the stalls, in the shadows, where the light barely reaches, a single figure stands quietly, watching, still, not holding anything at all. Not yet, but drawn here nonetheless. Among the many who have entered quietly, there's one who walks without a bundle, no folded letter in hand, no warm bowl cradled to the chest. No cloth-wrapped sorrow tied with twine, just themselves. A figure in a coat the color of early fog, worn soft by seasons of quiet weather. Hood low, gaze steady, footsteps slow. They do not seem certain why they've come, and yet they're here. They walk with care, not out of fear, but as though afraid to interrupt something sacred, as though the air itself holds memory, and stepping too loudly might disturb it. Around them, the market breathes. They pass a stall titled, "Joy You're Ready to Hold Again." Inside, a woman lays down a small tin locket, opens it once, gently, then leaves it behind. The light from the stall is soft gold. It flickers not like flame, but like sunrise on a lake. The visitor watches it a long while, their expression unreadable. Then they move on. At another tent, grief's made gentle. A man kneels before a folded square of midnight blue fabric, its corners embroidered with tiny silver spirals. He places an old key beside it, and whispers something only the rain hears. The watcher pauses again, but does not kneel, only observes. The market does not call to them. Not yet. It only waits. They continue on, passing a low table covered in glass jars. Each holds a different light, some bright as candle wicks, others dim as held in tears. A sign nearby reads, "For those who carry too long, the watcher lingers here longest." They do not touch, they do not speak, but their breath slows, and their shoulders shift, just slightly, as if loosening something that has been held too tight for too long. They move again. At one corner of the market, they find a small stall with no lantern at all, only shadows, and a handwritten sign. Emotions without names. There is no table, no bowls, no offerings, only a cushion and space. Someone sits there already, eyes closed, hands open in their lap. Rain falls around them, but not on them. Not quite. The watcher does not sit, but they remain nearby, still, listening. Inside them, something moves. Not sharply, not suddenly, but like a tide turning beneath the surface. They do not understand it. Not fully, but they feel it. And that is enough. They are not ready to trade anything. They are not sure what they carry. They have no name for the weight they hold. But still, they are here. And the market does not mind. It welcomes the ones who wait, the ones who only watch. the ones who do not yet know what they feel, only that they feel something. And that is always enough. The rain continues, the market breathes, and the watcher stays. The watcher moves again. They pass a quiet stall with no lantern, only a silk curtain parted slightly in the center. From within, a breath of steam rises. It curls into the air like a whisper, unspoken, a warmth that carries no scent, but something deeper, like memory, washed and made gentle. The watcher steps closer. A wooden sign swings slightly above the entrance. Its paint faded, but the words still clear. Forgiveness. Just that. Not forgiveness demanded. Not forgiveness earned. Only offered. Inside, the space is hushed. The steam softens the walls, which are lined with woven mats and low tables. In the center, a bowl. It rests on a short wooden stand. Simple and smooth. The bowl is clay, hand-shaped, its surface worn with age, glazed in a soft, pale hue like warm milk at dusk. Inside it, the steam rises continuously, as if it breathes on its own. There is no fire beneath it, no heat source visible, just warmth, living, gentle warmth. The watcher stands at the threshold, half in shadow, half in mist, and watches. A man enters quietly, middle-aged, shoulders slightly curled, hands trembling with something. He does not say. He kneels before the bowl, not out of ceremony, but instinct. From his coat, he pulls a letter, unopened, folded once. The paper is worn at the crease. He holds it in both hands, as though it weighs more than it should. Then, without a word, he places it gently into the bowl of steam. The paper rests there for a moment, still visible, then begins to soften, to blur, to dissolve, slowly, quietly, until only a trace remains, and then nothing. The steam continues to rise. The man stays kneeling, eyes closed, mouth barely parted, not in speech, but in release. When he stands, he looks no different. And yet, he does. He walks out with empty hands, but lighter shoulders, a looser jaw, a quieter breath. No applause, no signal, only stillness. The watcher's hand rests at their side, fingers brushing the edge of their coat. Inside the pocket, a smooth stone. They grip it once, then release. Another figure enters. This time, a child, small, uncertain. They approach the bowl, alone. They carry nothing, but in their posture, something tight. Their brow creased, eyes not teary, but heavy. They reach a small hand toward the steam, pause, then hold it just above the bowl. The air curls around their palm. It catches in the spaces between their fingers. They close their eyes. A moment passes, then another. And when they pull their hand back, their shoulders lift, just slightly, just enough. They leave the tent without looking back. The watcher finally steps closer. They do not kneel. They do not speak. But they stand near the bowl. Their eyes meet the rising steam, and something inside them softens. Not completely. Not yet. But the first crack forms, not from breaking, but from thawing. They do not offer anything. Not today. But the bull does not mind. Forgiveness here does not demand to be taken. It simply exists. A presence. A warmth. A place where feelings go to rest. The watcher steps back. They do not feel healed, but they do feel less alone, The steam rises behind them as they walk away, not with closure, but with breath. And the bowl continues to offer, for whoever needs it, whenever they are ready, even if they never are. The rain has softened, not stopped, just quieter now, more like breath than weather. The sky still weeps, but gently, as if even the clouds are trying not to disturb what is unfolding below. The watcher wanders deeper into the market, not guided by signs now, but by a tug somewhere quiet in the chest. The kind of tug that says, "You don't need to know why, just that you're meant to follow." They come to a place where no lantern hangs, no steam rises, no velvet glows, only a wide open tent with no walls, just 4 weathered poles, and a canopy of quiet cloth. There is no table, no shelves, no jars, no baskets, just space. Inside, people sit, not in lines, not in circles, not facing any altar or flame. They simply sit, some on old cushions, some on low stools, one on the floor itself, cross-legged, rain brushing the tips of their boots. No one speaks, no one offers anything, no one receives. And yet, there is something exchanged here, something invisible, but deep. It is the exchange of not having to perform, not having to prove, not having to name what you feel, only feel it. The watcher hovers at the edge. There is no sign to read, only a scrap of cloth pinned to one of the tent poles, handwritten with 4 faint words. You don't need to know. The watcher stays still. Across the tent, a woman breathes with her eyes closed. Her shoulders rise and fall like the tide, even, slow, quiet. Her cheeks are damp, though it's unclear if from rain or tears. She does not wipe them away. Beside her, a man sits with both hands open in his lap, palms facing upward, not in offering, not in prayer, just open, like someone who has nothing left to hold and no longer feels the need to pretend otherwise. Time stretches here, not in boredom, in mercy. Here, seconds are not counted. They're softened. Each breath is allowed to be long. Each feeling is allowed to stay. Nothing is asked of you. Here, you are not a lesson, not a wound to fix, not a story to explain. You are a presence, and that is more than enough. The watcher finally steps inside. They do not take a cushion. They do not sit. They simply stand and watch, and for the first time, they realize no one in this tent is watching them back. No one is measuring their silence. No one is waiting for them to cry or speak or unfold. They are allowed to be invisible without being unseen. And that too is a kind of healing. The watcher's hand finds their pocket again. The smooth stone rests there still. But it feels different now. Not heavier. Not lighter. Just theirs. They take a breath deeper than before. Not to signal anything. Not to change anything. Just because they want to. Because here, that's allowed. The rain continues. Soft, unjudging. A lantern flickers somewhere beyond the edge of the market. But here, no light is needed. Only presence. Only breath. Only the quiet company of others, who also carry feelings they can't name. The watcher steps back, leaves the tent with slow feet, not transformed, but softened, not fixed, but less afraid to be unfinished. The market did not ask them to feel better, only to feel, and sometimes that is the rarest thing in all the world. The rain continues. but it feels thinner now, like threads pulled long and fine across the sky. The market has settled into its rhythm. Voices remain absent. Only the hush of footfalls and the murmur of falling water accompany the quiet presence of so many open hearts. The watcher walks alone again. Their steps are slower now, not from uncertainty, but from weight. Not burden, but gravity, the kind that comes when a feeling begins to surface, but hasn't yet formed a name. They leave the lantern-lit paths, move away from the steam and velvet, past the tents marked with trembling signs, and into a part of the market that feels almost forgotten. The rain here drips through the edges of crooked trees. The stones are uneven, older. Moss grows in soft green circles, as if memory lives even in the ground. And there, beneath the wide arc of a bent tree, rests a single bowl. No cloth surrounds it. No symbols hang nearby. No one tends to it. No one watches it. It simply exists, unbothered, unclaimed, unexplained. It is made of clay, rough, slightly misshapen, with a pale line down one side, where the glaze didn't take. Rain gathers slowly in the hollow, not overflowing, just filling, drop by drop, steady, gentle. The watcher approaches. There is no sign, no invitation, but somehow it feels more welcoming than anything else they've seen. They sit down in front of it, not on a cushion, not on a stool, just the wet stone beneath the tree, letting the earth press against the weight they carry. They do not know what this bowl holds. Stillness, perhaps. Emptiness. A mirror. Or something deeper. They reach into their coat. Their hand brushes the smooth stone in their pocket, the one they've carried since before the rain. They hold it for a moment, warm from their skin, worn from their touch, and for the first time, they don't ask what to do with it. They don't try to name what it means. They simply hold it and feel. The bowl waits. It does not pull. It does not judge. It does not fill with fire or mist or color. Only water collected from the sky, a reflection of whatever the world lets go. The watcher places the stone beside it, not inside, not as an offering, just beside it, a quiet acknowledgement. Then they let their hands rest in their lap. Their breath slows, and in that moment, they feel something shift. Not a release, not a relief, but a deep, wide quiet, settling into the space beneath their ribs. A stillness that says, you do not have to be certain. You do not have to be strong. You only have to be here. They sit there for a long time. No one comes. No one interrupts. Even the market seems to hold its breath. The rain falls on the bowl, the tree, the watcher, the stone. Time stretches like mist in moonlight, and slowly, so slowly, the watcher closes their eyes, not in sleep, not in surrender, but in peace. When they open them again, nothing has changed, and yet everything has. They rise. They do not take the stone. They do not mark the spot. They simply walk away as the rain continues to ripple in the bowl, catching light from the sky and reflecting nothing but silence. And that is enough. The sky has grown darker, not heavy, not stormed, just softened into night. The rain has not stopped. It still falls in silver threads, steady as breath, gentle as a memory that no longer hurts. The market is beginning to fold, not quickly, not all at once, but with the quiet rhythm of something that has done this many times before. The first tent vanishes gently. You don't see it pulled down. You don't see hands folding cloth. You only blink, and it's gone. In its place, wet stone, a ripple in a puddle, the echo of something that once glowed. Another stole dims its lantern, not extinguished, just slowly faded, until the light forgets it was ever burning. The signs are the last to go. Each paper softens in the rain, the ink smudging into unreadable curls, as if the words themselves are letting go of meaning, of memory, of form. The watcher stands near the edge. Their coat is damp, their shoulders are relaxed, their hands empty, not from loss, but from choosing to carry nothing. They watch as a figure gently folds a ribbon and places it in their coat. Another closes a tiny glass jar and tucks it beneath their scarf. No rush, no urgency. Everyone here seems to understand. The market appears when it is needed and leaves when it has done enough. Some have traded, some have taken, some have only sat in silence, but all have been seen. And that, somehow, is the truest offering of all. The child who once stood near the bowl of steam now walks with someone, an older hand in theirs. They pass the empty spaces where tents once stood, but neither looks back. A woman rests a final offering, a feather, tied to a ring of twine. On the wet stone, no one picks it up. No one asks what it means. It is allowed to remain until the rain makes it soft enough to disappear. Somewhere beyond the farthest stall, a new sound rises. Not music, not voice, just the sound of footsteps returning to the world, but softer, as if made of water and will. The watcher takes one last walk through the spaces where the market once breathed. Now, only rain, only puddles, only echoes. They pass the spot where the bowl sat beneath the tree. It remains. The rain still gathers there, but the stone they left beside it is gone. They smile, not because they understand, but because they no longer need to. The market did not give them answers. It did not heal them, but it gave them something smaller, something softer, something more precious than resolution, permission, to feel, to hold, to release, or to simply exist. And in the world they now return to, that permission will linger, even when the tents are gone, even when no bowl remains, even when no one remembers exactly where the market stood. Some things stay, quietly, within. The watcher steps beyond the boundary. Their foot leaves the cobbled stone and returns to soil, to path, to street. The market does not say goodbye. It does not wave or close its gates. It simply isn't there anymore. And in its place, the rain falls, soft, gentle, endless, just like before, just like always. The market is gone. The rain falls where the stalls once stood, where jars once glowed, where steam once rose in the shape of forgiveness. Only puddles remain now, only empty stone, soft earth, and the fading footprints of those who walked quietly. But in the center of the space, where all paths once crossed, where all stories once brushed shoulders, something remains. A single lantern, hung from nothing, tethered to no pole, no rope, no tent beam. It simply hovers, glowing, not bright, not flickering, just steady, like someone keeping watch over a memory. It lights nothing around it, casts no shadow, but it is there. It waits, perhaps for the next market to form, perhaps for a visitor who arrives too late, or perhaps it waits simply because someone always should. You do not see the watcher anymore. Not here, not now, but you feel them somewhere beyond this place, walking, breathing, carrying something softer, a little space cleared inside the chest, a little silence reclaimed, a little weight set down. The lantern waits for them too, and for you. It does not fade when no one looks. It does not vanish when the market folds. It waits, in your memory, in the space behind your breath, in the quiet between thoughts. A small warm light that says, you are allowed to feel, you are allowed to rest, you are allowed to return. The rain continues. Not sad, not told, just real. And above it all, the sky holds its hush. The world turns one soft rotation more, and somewhere in the deep of night, the lantern stays, just in case, just in time, just enough. And so, the market faded, not with noise, but with breath. People left lighter, not because they let everything go, but because they held it differently. And in that quiet rain, where no coins changed hands, and no words were needed, feelings found their place. Thank you for walking this path tonight, for imagining a place where sorrow is softened, and peace can be traded for nothing but stillness. If this helped you rest, you're always welcome back to the emotion market, to Sleepless, Lantern. Until next time, sleep softly, now, and let the past keep watch.